Very good morning, guys. Once again, yesterday in a previous class, we were discussing top-down parsing. Okay, so how to construct the parse tree or syntax tree from top to bottom, we have studied. Okay, now today we are going to study bottom-up parsing. Okay, yesterday actually briefly I have given introduction of this. Bottom-up parsing is nothing but constructing parse tree or syntax tree from bottom to top, that is bottom to up, that is starting from leaf node to root node. Okay, so here for bottom up parsing, which grammar is suitable, I already told you. For bottom up parsing, LR grammar is suitable. For top down parsing, LL grammar is suitable. Okay, so this bottom up parsing is the last topic of your third module. So today I will not take so much time. Only hardly 2 or 3 topics are there, subtopics. I will complete today. Okay. Uh, Here, I am going to show you one bottom-up parse tree for the input string id star id. Suppose your input is in this way, variable star variable. Okay, that is nothing but suppose if your executable statement is like multiplication is equal to a into b. Okay, here only RHS side I am taking, that is a into b, that is id into id. For this input string of your program, as per this grammar, okay, you just focus on my mouse pointer. For this input, by using this grammar or as per this grammar or according to this grammar, you have to draw the parse tree. So start from a leaf node id star id and you reduce this id to f. Here I am not telling expand or replace. What word I am using? I am using the word reduce. Okay, because you are reducing id to f, because id can be reduced to f, right? So if it is from left to right, what happens? Replace the f by id, but here you are replacing id by f. So instead of calling that word replace, I call it as a reduce id to f. Okay, then f is reduced to t, and again here id is reduced to f, and then complete this t star f is reduced to t, and t is finally reduced to our start symbol, that is root node capital E. Okay, so we started from leaf node and we end with the start symbol or root node, right? So this is how we have to construct a parse tree. And next topic is reduction. And guys, one thing you remember here, you don't think that we are implementing here leftmost derivation. Actually, we are implementing rightmost derivation it is, because I already told you for bottom up parsing, which grammar is suitable? LR grammar is suitable. LR means what? Capital L is scan the input from left to right, and R is a left recursive. Left recursive. It means that in any production, in LHS side, whatever the non-terminal is appearing, the same non-terminal should appear immediately at the RHS side. So it is true in first production. It is true in second production also. T is immediately repeating in a RHS. So this type of grammars are called as left recursive grammars. So LR grammars. So which are very much suitable for bottom up parsing. And also in LR grammar, capital L is indicating that scan the input from left to right, and capital R indicates that perform rightmost derivation. Rightmost derivation. So rightmost derivation only we are performing by looking. But it seems that it may be left recursion, but actually, leftmost derivation, but it is not leftmost derivation. Actually, it is rightmost derivation. How it is, sir? I will show you. Don't worry. Okay. So by looking into this, these steps of construction of parse tree or syntax tree, it seems that I am using leftmost derivation, but it is not actually leftmost derivation. It is a rightmost derivation. How it is, I will show you. Okay. So here, let us go to next subtopic, that is reduction. Reduction. Because of that only I used the word reduce. id was reduced to f was reduced to t, t star f was reduced to t, and again t was reduced to e. So here I am not using the word replacement or expand like that. I am using the word reduce, right? So here we can think of this bottom-up parsing as it is a process of bottom-up parsing is what? It is a process of reducing. What you are reducing? You are reducing a string. Okay, you are reducing a string. Okay, to the start symbol of the grammar. It means you started your journey from this string. Okay, that is both of them are terminal. From terminal to you keep on reducing, keep on reducing, keep on reducing in every step, and finally you reduce it to the root node or start symbol E. It means in this grammar you started your journey from this terminal and you reduce it to F, F to T, T to E. So like this you are moving towards your start symbol or your uh, start symbol or your first production in that also non-terminal of first production, right? So this is bottom up parsing is, in another word, it is called as reducing a string, reducing a string to the symbol. Which is symbol? Which symbol? Start symbol. And in every reduction step, step, one particular substring which is matching the body of that production will be replaced. Correct? Because here in my substring, in my string id star id, okay, id star id, if you consider that first id as a substring, that substring id is matching with the body of a production, body of a production. Of course it is matching with the production. F is yielding id, that production, F is yielding id, that is the last production in my grammar. So it is matching with that production, body of that production. So that substring is replaced by the non-terminal of that, non-terminal or head of that production. Clear? Very simple method, guys. And here the very important decisions what you have to take is when to reduce and what production to apply, or to which production to I have to use here. It means to which non-terminal I have to reduce. Okay, this is a very very important decision when I have to reduce. So if you consider any one substring from your string and you search that substring in your grammar at the RHS side, if that substring is present, then you can replace it, or you can reduce it to LHS. Okay, if it is not present, you just take next input character, then again start whether those two characters are present or not. If it is not present, again you take a next character and again start those all three characters are whether they are in present in your grammar in the RHS side. If it is present like T star F, okay, then you you reduce it to the LHS, reduce it to the non-terminal. Okay, that production will be applicable there. Then here I told here we are performing the rightmost derivation because bottom up parsing is possible only with LR grammar. So here the L is here, that is a that root node or start symbol is a capital E, and if you derive, okay, so this E derives a T and T is deriving a T star F. Okay, so here in this entire sequence of derivations I am using rightmost derivation only. How it is? See here, T star here T is deriving a T and T is deriving a T star F. Okay, T is deriving T star F, and here again I am performing a rightmost derivation. It means that I should not replace a T, I should replace F. Okay, so T as it is I kept, and star also as it is I kept, and F I reduced it to I expanded it to F, I expanded it to ID. Now I expand this T to F. Okay, or I replace T by F, then finally I replace F by ID. So this is rightmost derivation, because rightmost symbol or non-terminal you are going to keep on replacing or you are keep on expanding. Okay, but once if you observe this derivation, okay, so this derivation sequences in a reverse order, then you will understand that, oh, sir has performed rightmost derivation. Okay, how it is? Say your given input is id star id. So first step what I did, so here this id I kept as it is, this star I kept as it is, and this id I reduced it to f, right? I reduced it to f. So here, what is going on here? It means that first priority I am giving to this one, ID. So I kept it as ID, and star also I kept it as ID. And here ID, this ID is reduced to F. Okay. And if you consider only this F star ID, here again, what I am going to do, I kept this ID and star as it is here in the next step, and this F is replaced by T. Okay. And here this T star ID, here you will get clearly that I am performing rightmost derivation. Here T star ID is there, right? So here, one second. No, T star ID is there. Here I kept T as it is and star as it is, but here I am replacing this ID by reducing ID to F. Okay, so here if you see it in a reverse order, then you will understand that it is a rightmost derivation. Or else here also from left to right also, if you observe, it is a rightmost derivation. Because why I am telling is, here in this diagram, you may feel that it is a leftmost derivation, but it is not actually leftmost derivation, it is a rightmost derivation. How it is? If you see this one only, here first I am reducing this id to f, then id to f, f to t, then this t star f to t, t to e. So here in this derivations, it is very clear in this particular step, it is rightmost derivation. Clear, guys? So very interesting concept, guys. So next topic is handle pruning. Okay. So before going to this topic, I want to tell you two words here, two terms. One is a sentential form, another term is a sentence. So because in this topic handle pruning, these two words are important. So you understand them here only. So what is a sentential form? Sentential form is nothing but, in your production, you know, LHS is there, RHS is there, LHS is there, RHS is there, right? In your production, every RHS is considered as a sentential form, okay? Except the non-terminal, which is a start symbol. If that start symbol is appearing in RHS side also, then that RHS is not called as a sentential form. So that's why I told you, every RHS is a sentential form except start symbol. Except start symbol means a start symbol is in LHS, but if that start symbol is repeated in RHS, then that RHS, which is a start symbol, is not a sentential form. It means that except root node, everything is a sentential form. For example, here you come back to this grammar. Here E is here in a first production. E is again repeated in RHS. So as I already told you, here all RHS are called as a sentential form, but except this E, because E is a start symbol. So remaining things are there, no? T star F, parenthesized E, and ID. These all are sentential forms. Okay. So these all sentential forms may be the combination of terminals and non-terminals. Because of that only you can observe here, combination of both the terminal and non-terminal is there here. F star T, T star T. T star F, both of them are non-terminals. ID star ID, both of them are terminals. In fact, star is also terminal. Okay. So this is about a sentential form. Now then what is the meaning of sentence? Sentence is also a sentential form with only the terminals. It means sentence is also sentential form only, but except all non-terminals. It means that sentential form sentence contains only terminals. For example, ID star ID. Example, ID star ID. It is a sentence. Clear? You just understand these two concepts, then it will be easy for understanding handle pruning. Okay. So here one concept comes, that is handle and prune that handle. Prune is nothing but cut. You know, in our tree also we will keep on cut the branches. Okay. So similarly here we are going to cut, we are going to reduce the handle. So first you should understand handle. What is handle, right? Then only you can prune it or cut it. Handle is nothing but, try to understand guys, handle is nothing but it is a substring. It is a substring that is matching the body of a production. That's all. That is matching your body of your production. For example, if you consider id star id input string, and if you consider id as a substring, and that substring is matching body of your production in your grammar, that is the last production, correct? F is yielding a id. So you can consider this id as a body, sorry, id as a handle. Okay. And id star id, right? Here second id is also a handle. It means that any substring which is matching the body of your production and its reduction is representing one step along your reverse of rightmost derivation. Reverse of rightmost derivation is here. Here you come to this example. id star id is your input string. And if you consider only this first id as your substring, this id is reduced to f in one step of your rightmost derivation, which is a reverse rightmost derivation. I am going from right to left. That's why. Okay, this is the entire thing left to right is of course it is a rightmost derivation. But now I am going to I am going from right to left here. So first id, if you consider as a substring, this is a handle. If it is going to be reduced to f, or if it is going to be reduced to its non-terminal in that production in one step of what? One step of rightmost derivation, and that too in reverse order, right? That's why I'm coming from right to left. And once again, one more id is here. This id is also replaced to f here. So again, this id is also considered as handle. Okay, in fact this f is also a handle. Yeah, why? Because f you can reduce it to t. So f is also a handle, right? This id is also handled here because id is reduced to f, right? So like this, any substring like this, if it is reduced to non-terminal and its substring is matching a body of a production and reduction is present there, then it is called as a handle. Okay, so here you will get a clear idea in this table. This is a handle table, handles. In your sentential form, sentential form means what? Already I told you, RHS side of your all productions are called as sentential form only, except start symbol. So everything is here. Your input symbol, input string is id1 star id2, right? Here id1 is a handle. Why? It is a substring, and also that substring can be reduced to f. So you can call id1 as a handle. Clear? Because here id is there, this id you can reduce it to f. So reducing production is what here? F is yielding id, that is last production I have written here. So this is id1 is a handle. So after reducing id to f, your sentential form will be like this. Your input string will be changed to f star id2, and again f is also a handle. F is also handle. Why? It is a substring of your entire input, and that f you can reduce it to t. So definitely you can call f as a handle. Clear? Then what is remaining now? T star id. T star id, id2 is also a handle because id can be reduced to f. Then finally you got this t star f, and the entire t star f is also considered as a substring. Okay, and this t star f can be reduced to t, and from T to E, so entirely I have written here, that is T star F can be reduced to E. So this T star F also called as handle. Are you getting us how to consider a handle? Now the question is pruning. Okay, prune means what? Cut. So how to cut it? The rightmost derivation in a reverse order. The rightmost derivation in reverse order can be obtained by handle pruning. Handle pruning. It means that here whatever you have done, no, here rightmost derivation in reverse order. In reverse order, that only called as handle pruning, because here your input is id star id. What you are doing here? You are reducing id to f. Okay, id is a substring. First condition is satisfied, and that id is reduced to f, that is a production. It is replaced by it is reduced to f. So you can call this id as a handle. So the rightmost derivation steps are there, no, these sequence of steps. If you go from right to left, then it is called as handle pruning. It means you are reducing. In every step I used that word, correct? Reduce. That is a reduction. Our previous small topic was also reduction. So reducing the handles is called as handle pruning. Clear, guys? Okay. Then we will go to next topic, that is shift reduce parsing. See, very interesting concept, guys. Here this is also one type of bottom up parsing. Okay, you know, in our top down parsing there were some types of top down parsing. For example, there was one main category of top down parsing was recursive descent parsing. And again, that recursive descent parsing is categorized as predictive parsing. Predictive parsing is a type of top-down parsing with no backtracking. Correct? So these are different types of top-down parsing. Similarly, in our bottom-up parsing also, there are some types of bottom-up parsing are there. In that, first one major type of parsing is a shift reduce parsing. See, what is this shift reduce parsing? As its name itself is a shift reduce parsing. So basically it performs two operations. First operation is shifting and second operation is reducing. Okay, so here to perform these two operations in shift reduce parsing, we use two storages here. Two storages. So first storage I call it as a data structure. Which data structure? I use a stack here. I use a stack here. Sir, why you are using a stack? Because I should keep on pushing, or I should keep on shifting my input characters one by one onto the stack. Once that a single character is matching with any of the my productions, then I should reduce it. Okay, or else you keep on pushing or shifting the next character. Then those two characters, if they are matching with any of the productions, then you reduce it. Otherwise you push the next character, then there will be three characters. All those three characters are whether they are matching with your production or not. If they are matching, then you reduce it to non-terminal. Otherwise, next character you should shift or push. Clear? So that's why to store these all input characters, okay, so I use here stack. And one more storing or buffer I use, that buffer is called as input buffer. What is the use of this input buffer? This input buffer is used to store the remaining input characters, Okay, so I will show you, don't worry how it is. Okay, so here one more thing what you have to understand is we are going to use one important symbol here, that is a dollar symbol. That dollar symbol, yesterday only I told you, it is called as a, it indicates the end of any input, end of any statement, end of any line. It is the end of line. Okay, so here dollar is indicating end of my input. end of my input, so that the compiler should not get any confusion that whether the input of user is finished here only or is still that input is continuing. So to make it clear, so if you put that dollar at the end of your input, then we will get one clear idea that my input is this much length. Correct? So similarly, the same dollar symbol is used to indicate the bottom of your stack also. The bottom of your stack. So in stack column also, I have used this dollar. What it is indicating? It is indicating a bottom of your stack, right? And what is your input string is simply I have taken here, it is a w is a string input string, and at the end of the input string I should put a dollar to indicate that it is the end of your input. And here also I am using dollar to indicate that it is a bottom of a stack. Initially the stack is empty now. Clear? Okay. And now whatever the inputs one by one character of your string you will push or you will shift to this stack, that stack will get one character, two character, three character, and so on, right? So you have to represent and you have to denote the top of a stack also. Correct? Those top of stacks will be the characters whatever you are keep on pushing or shifting on your stack, and in that rightmost character will be indicating the top of your stack. Okay, so here top of your stack will be in a rightmost character in your input. Right side will be the topmost top of your stack. Okay, so just wait guys, I will show you how it works. Shift reduce. Okay, once if you keep on entering the inputs to stack and if you keep on reducing it to a production or a non-terminal, at after some time your input will be vanished. It means your input will be exhausted. It means there is no more any input character. At that time your input column contains only this dollar, which is indicating the end of your input. Okay, input column will be blank. At that time, if you are keep on reducing those inputs to any non-terminal, and finally you will reach your start symbol, that is capital S. Okay, at that time the content of this stack will be capital S. Okay, so this dollar is indicating bottom of that stack, and on that bottom and on that top on that stack there is one character is there, that is non-terminal, that is start symbol. Yes, that is a first productions non-terminal, that is a start symbol. So if you get this state, at that time you should understand that your input is accepted correctly. Your input is accepted. Okay, you should try to achieve this state. So what should be there? Stack should contain start symbol and input column should be blank. If you reach this state, then you are successful. Okay, how it is we will see now. See, as per this grammar here with pencil I have written here. So my input is id1 star id2. Okay, so according to this grammar I am going to do some actions here. Okay, so I am going to do that shift to reduce parsing. So here my input column is indicating id1 star id2 and dollar. It is the end of this input. It means that id2 is the last input. Okay, and initially the stack is empty and this dollar is indicating bottom of my stack. So in this state, what action I have to take, I have written in this third column. What I have to do here? I can perform shift operation here. It means push. Shift is nothing but push. Okay, I will shift this id1 to on my stack, and this id1 is indicating a top of my stack. Then after that, what is the remaining input? The input buffer contains only star id2. Then what action I can take now? I can take the action reduce. What I can reduce? I can reduce this id1 to f. So what production is suitable here? F yields id. This production is applicable. We are applying f yields id production. So I reduced this id to f. Then what is remaining in input? Again it is a star id2. And again I can perform a reduce operation. because I want to reduce F to T. So which production is applicable here? T yields F. So here F is yielded to or reduced to T. Correct? Then what is remaining in input? Again star ID2 is remaining. In this stage, what I can perform? I can perform shift. What I want to shift? I want to shift a star now. So the stack becomes a T star. The star is indicating top of your stack now because two characters are there. The topmost element of your stack is a star. Then what is remaining in input? ID2. In this stage, what action I can take? I can take shift. It means I should push ID2. Then this ID also I can reduce it to F, and this F also I can reduce it to T, and here again I can reduce this T to E. So I think you have reached your expected state. That is, start symbol of this grammar is E. So you have reached the start symbol, and there is no any more input in your input column. So it means that it is a successful shift reduce parsing. It means your input ID star ID is accepted by the syntax analyzer or your compiler. Clear? There is no any error here. This is about shift reduce parsing, guys. So basically, if you look, you may feel that there are only two operations are there, production tasks are there. One is a shift and one more is a reduce. But actually, there are four operations are there. One is a shift, second one is reduce, third one is a accept, fourth one is error. Okay, actually four actions are there. In this diagram, we have performed three actions. One is a shift, second one is a reduce, and the third one is a accept. What about fourth one? Fourth one is a error. Since there is no any error, here I have not used that error. So let us discuss when I get this error. So one by one we will see these all operations. Shift is nothing but shift or push the input character, next input symbol onto the top of the stack. And reduce is very important here. The right end of the string should be reduced to it should be a top of your stack. Find out the left end of the string within the stack and decide with what non-terminal I have to replace it. That is nothing but reduce, right? Then accept is nothing but you announce that a successful completion of your parsing. That is only we did in this table, top table, above table, right? Then last one is a error. What we have to do? You have to find out any syntax error is present or not. If it is present, you should do one thing. You should call error recovery routine. Error recovery methods or strategies already I discussed. Panic mode, phrase level, global correction, these all things are error recovery strategies, correct? So if there is any syntax error, then you should immediately call the error recovery routine. So there are basically only two operations, but actually there are four operations or four actions are there in shift reduce parsing. Shift is a first operation, reduce is a second operation or action, third is a accept action, fourth is a error action. Clear, guys? Four actions are here. Okay. So next last topic is conflicts during a shift reduce parsing. There is a competition is there between shift and reduce. I will perform, I will perform, I will perform, I will perform. Among these two, which one we have to perform? So that is nothing but there is a overlapping is there in between this shift operation or shift action and reduce action. This is called as conflict, or else you just understand that if you get any confusion, suppose whether I should perform shift action or whether I should perform reduce action, that situation is called as conflict in a shift reduce parsing. Okay, so here we will see that with one example. If there is a conflict is there, then our grammars for which this shift reduce parsing is there, no, this shift you reduce parsing cannot be used if there is a conflict. Okay, so here our shift reduce parser, it knows the entire content of our stack. Okay, entire content of our stack, and in fact it knows our next input symbol also, then still it cannot decide whether I have to perform a shift action or reduce action. So this situation is called as a shift reduce conflict. Or else one more doubt our shift reduce parser will get is it cannot decide whether which reduction I have to make, which reduction I have to make. That is another conflict that is called as reduce conflict. It is reduced conflict. Okay, don't worry about it. So here one dangling else problem I had taken for our ambiguous grammar as an example. Correct. In previous classes I have shown you ambiguous grammar with this dangling else grammar. Okay, so dangling else statement for if else statement is this one, that is grammar is this one. Correct. So here, sir, what type of confusion we get here? Simple. See, if your input, okay, if your input is this one, if your input is this one, which one? Your input statement is like this: if expression, then statement, else statement. Clear? So your input buffer contains this entire thing, and after this statement, here I am pointing STMT. After this statement, we have put $1 here to indicate it is the end of the input. So in this entire input string, you one by one you keep on pushing the substring onto the stack. If is a substring, you push it and you try to check it in a RHS side whether it is going to match anything or not. So by looking into only if, you cannot take a decision with which production, with which non-terminal I have to replace it. So you just push next input character, that is expression. Next, again you are not able to take a decision, so you just push next input, that is substring, that is then. After that again you are not able to take a decision because up to here both of those productions are having same inputs. Then you shift statement. Okay. At that time when you pushed or when you shifted the statement, you should hold on, you should wait. Immediately you should not reduce this if else then statement to statement. You should not immediately reduce it to statement. Okay, still you should wait and watch what is the next input symbol, that is a else. And you are not only looking into else, for a safer side, you are not only looking into else, that is only one character ahead. You will look into two characters ahead. It means you will look into statement also. After else, what is there? Then only you will take the decision. Okay. So after statement, else is there. Okay, fine. So after else also, by looking into only else, then you should not take immediately the decision that I can reduce my stack to the statement. No, you should not do like this. So here you will get a confusion, right? Whether I have to shift else as well as a statement to the stack, or whether I should reduce if expression then statement to statement, because already in your stack you got if expression then statement, which is matching your RHS of your first production. You can reduce it to statement, but you have one or two more input strings which are going to match with your production, which is a second production. Because of that only, here you will, in this portion you will get a confusion whether I have to reduce this with statement, or else whether I should keep on continuing the shifting operation. That is, you will shift else, then you will shift statement, then after that you will look into the dollar, then you will understand it is the end of the input. So if this is all substrings or the entire string is matching with any of your production, then only you should perform reduction. Clear, guys? So in this portion, when you come to else portion, you will get this confusion. Whether I have to reduce this if expression then statement which is already present in my stack, whether I should reduce it to statement, or else I should keep on performing a shifting of else, shifting of statement, then I should reduce it to statement. So this confusion itself is called as shift reduce conflict. Shift reduce conflict. Clear? Okay. So then usually the solution for it is you should wait. You should wait. You means what here? Shift reduce parser. Shift reduce parser. So you should wait. Immediately you should not take a decision that I can reduce this to statement, because still some input characters are there. Let us wait and watch what are those. Let us wait and look into them. What are those? One or two or three characters ahead you should look into, and then only you have to take a decision of a reduction. Clear? First you shift them, then you take a reduction to statement. So if you wait and watch, and if you wait and take a decision, it will be very good decision by you people. Okay, if you resolve the shift reduce conflict on else in favoring the shift, it means if you perform shifting, not reducing, then that parser will be very good parser, and it will behave as per our expectation. As per our expectation, that is, which expectation? In a dangling else problem, what was the solution? You relate each statement, else statement, each and every else statement with the nearest if statement or closest if statement. No, that was the solution for our ambiguous grammar of our dangling else problem. Right? What was the solution? You try to relate else statement with the nearest or closest if statement or then statement. So if you perform shifting, it means if you perform shifting, or if you give a priority to shifting instead of immediately taking a decision of reducing or reduction, if you perform shifting of else, shifting of a statement, then if you take a decision of reduction, then our parser will behave or it works as per our expectation. Correct? No, it is our safer side. Correct? It is a proper way. So this is about shift reduce conflict, guys. Shift reduce conflict. Okay, here your third module is ended here. Here third module is completed. In the next class I start fourth module, okay, which is also very much important for your lab, because in fourth module I am going to teach lex and ack tools. Okay, probably I start fourth module from Monday, but today and tomorrow, today 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 and tomorrow, probably I take CGV classes. Today and tomorrow I probably take CGV classes. From Monday I start fourth module of SSC subject. Okay, so today and tomorrow I take CGV classes. Probably up to 12:30 I think Avadut sir will take a class. As per your convenient time, any one of you send me a message in WhatsApp at what time I have to take a class today. Uh, if it is 1 o'clock, it is fine for me. If it is 1:30, it is also fine for me, because after Avadut sir's class, if you want a half an hour break, you take half an hour break, and let us gather here at 1 o'clock. Okay, or else sir, we want to start at 1:30, then it is also fine for me. I will start class at 1:30. Maximum I take 1 hour. Okay, 1 or 2 hours maximum. Okay, so today afternoon I take CGV classes. Okay guys, you can leave the meeting now.